Let us get one thing straight right out of the gate. I am not sitting up here in an ivory tower lecturing you like a doctor with a dozen fancy letters after my name. Doctors are absolutely wonderful people. Bless their stethoscopes. They do incredible work, and they save lives every single day. But they are largely trained to put out fires once the house is already burning. I am not a doctor. I am just a 93-year-old lady who wants to show you how to fireproof the house before the smoke even starts. I am 93, and I still remember the name of the boy who broke my heart in 1950. His name was Thomas. He had terrible posture, and quite frankly, looking back, I dodged a massive bullet. I still handle all of my own taxes. I read 2 books a week. I can tell you exactly what I had for breakfast 3 weeks ago. It was oatmeal with blueberries and far too much cinnamon. And most importantly, I live in a way that makes my children incredibly proud, rather than making them worried. People often ask me what my secret is. They look at me like I am some kind of walking medical miracle. They assume I have the genetics of a superhero, or that I drink some magic potion made of kale and expensive dirt. But the truth is much simpler, and honestly, a lot funnier. I just stopped treating my brain like a garbage disposal and started treating it like my most valuable retirement account. People spend their entire middle age worrying about investing in real estate, hoarding away dollars, or buying up gold and silver. But let me tell you a hard truth. The most precious asset you will ever own is the gray matter between your ears. All the silver in the world does not mean a single thing if you do not have the mind to remember where you buried it, or the cognitive ability to enjoy your wealth with your family. If you are in your 40s, your 50s, or your 60s right now, you are sitting at the most critical intersection of your entire life. Your life after 60 is entirely determined by the choices you are making this very afternoon. You might be starting to notice a few things slipping. You walk into the kitchen and completely forget what you needed. You spend 5 minutes looking for the eyeglasses that are sitting squarely on top of your head. You laugh it off. You call it a senior moment, but deep down, in the quiet hours of the night, it is not funny at all. It is terrifying. You are terrified of becoming a prisoner in your own body. You are terrified of looking into the eyes of your own daughter and not recognizing her face. I know that terror because I lived alongside it. My wonderful husband, Warren, was the smartest man I ever knew. He could build an engine from scratch and quote Shakespeare from memory. But Warren believed that aging was just a slow ride down a steep hill, and he refused to touch the brakes. When he hit his late 60s, the fog rolled in. It started small, missing appointments, misplacing keys. But then the disease really bared its teeth. The memory loss was one thing, but the paranoia was what broke my heart. Dementia is a cruel thief, but it is also a liar. Warren started believing that people were coming into our house just to play tricks on him. He would hide his own watch or his checkbook to keep them safe, completely forget where he put them, and then become absolutely convinced that someone had stolen them. His peace of mind just vanished. He could not rest. He would wake up constantly, his heart racing with anxiety. Convinced the house was not secure, He would wander the hallways in the pitch black, checking the front door locks over and over and over again. He lived in a state of constant, exhausting fear. By the time he was 80, my brilliant, funny Warren was gone, even though his body was still sitting right next to me on the sofa. Losing him to that disease was a slow-motion heartbreak that I would not wish on my worst enemy. After Warren passed, I made a very stubborn decision. I decided that aging is not a spectator sport. I was going to fight for my mind. I researched, I learned, and I completely overhauled the way I lived. I have outlived my warranty by a good 2 decades, and my mind is sharper now than it was when I was 45. There are 5 very specific, slightly unconventional things I do every single day to keep my brain firing on all cylinders. I am going to share them with you right now. Get a pen. Write this down. Or do not write it down and test your memory, your call. But I recommend the pen. Here is rule number 1. You have to grease the gears with the right kind of fat. We grew up in a generation that was terrified of fat. We bought everything with low fat, or fat-free stamped in big letters on the cardboard box. Do you know what they replace the fat with in those boxes? Sugar, chemicals, and things that belong in a chemistry lab, not a human stomach. They say you are what you eat, which means half of America is highly processed, totally artificial, and lacking in good taste. Your brain is the fattiest organ in your body. It is nearly 60% fat. Imagine trying to run a luxury sports car on dirty puddle water. That is what you are doing to your brain when you feed it ultra-processed seed oils, trans fats, and artificial junk. Your brain needs healthy fats to insulate its wiring. The connections in your brain are covered in a substance called myelin, and myelin loves good fat. When I turned 65, I threw out every bottle of cheap vegetable oil in my pantry. I started treating my kitchen like a brain pharmacy. I eat avocados like they are going out of style. I pour extra virgin olive oil on practically everything. I eat wild-caught salmon, walnuts, and eggs with the yolks. Yes, the yolks. The yolk is where all the choline is, and choline is the building block of memory. Stop eating egg whites. It is like throwing away the diamond and keeping the jewelry box. Rule number 2 is about physical movement, but probably not the kind you are thinking of. You have to confuse your body to wake up your brain. Most people in their 50s think walking on a treadmill for 30 minutes is enough. And frankly, walking is great. It keeps the heart pumping. But walking is a linear movement. Your brain can do it while practically completely asleep. To actually force your brain to build new neural pathways, you have to move in ways that require active coordination and balance. You have to cross the midline of your body. Whenever you do a movement that crosses the invisible line down the center of your body, like touching your right elbow to your left knee, the 2 hemispheres of your brain have to talk to each other. It forces the bridge between the 2 halves, called the corpus callosum, to fire up. I do not just walk, I dance. And not the elegant, slow, waltzing kind of dancing. I put on upbeat music from the 1970s, and I actively try to do steps that make me feel slightly uncoordinated. My neighbor, Betty, comes over every Tuesday afternoon. She is 88 and has a hip that practically predicts the weather. She cannot do much, but we put on a little rock and roll, and even if she is just sitting in her armchair, reaching her left hand over to tap her right knee, she is forcing her brain to wake up. We learn new routines together. If your workout does not occasionally make you feel a little bit clumsy, it is not doing enough for your brain. Make your brain work for its keep. That brings us directly to rule number 3. You must embrace the glorious frustration of being terrible at something new. As we get older, we get incredibly comfortable. We become experts at our jobs. We master our routines. And we stop putting ourselves in situations where we feel like a beginner. Comfort is the absolute enemy of cognitive longevity. If you want to grow new brain cells, and yes, science now proves you can grow new brain cells until the day you die, you have to experience a state of productive struggle. When your brain hurts a little bit, when you feel totally frustrated because you cannot figure something out, that is the literal sensation of neuroplasticity. That is your brain growing new branches. When I was 85, I decided I was going to learn how to play the piano. I had never touched a piano in my life. For the first 6 months, I sounded like a cat walking across the keyboard. My fingers would not do what my brain was screaming at them to do. I wanted to slam the lid shut and quit every single Tuesday, but I kept going. I embraced the struggle. If you are 50 years old right now, what is making you frustrated? Doing a daily crossword puzzle does not count. That is just accessing old information from a dusty filing cabinet. You need to build a new cabinet. Learn a foreign language. Learn how to paint with watercolors. Learn how to fix a complex engine. You have to consistently remind your brain that there is still new territory to conquer. Otherwise, it will just pack up its bags and retire early. Rule number 4. You have to run the nightly dishwasher in your skull. I used to be one of those people who bragged about running on 4 hours of sleep. I thought sleep was just a luxury for lazy people. I was completely, spectacularly wrong. When you are awake, your brain is burning enormous amounts of energy. And just like a car engine produces exhaust, your brain produces metabolic waste. It builds up toxic proteins all day long. One of these is called amyloid beta, which is the exact same sticky plaque they find smothering the brains of people with Alzheimer's disease. When you finally go into deep sleep, something miraculous happens. The cells in your brain actually shrink slightly. This allows a specialized system called the glymphatic system to wash cerebrospinal fluid all through your brain. It literally power washes the junk and flushes it out. If you are staying up until 1 in the morning watching television, drinking alcohol right before bed, and only getting 5 hours of restless sleep, you are unplugging the dishwasher right in the middle of its cycle. You are waking up every single morning with a brain full of yesterday's garbage. You must protect your sleep like it is a precious jewel. I keep my bedroom as cold as a meat locker. I stop looking at screens 2 hours before bed. I read a physical book. I make sure I get 8 full hours of deep, uninterrupted rest. Now, I will be completely honest with you. It is not always perfect. There are nights when your brain just refuses to shut up. You will lie there staring at the dark. agonizing over something embarrassing you said in 1994. When that happens, do not panic and do not reach for your telephone. Get up, have a tiny sip of warm water, just a little bit, or you will be getting up to use the restroom 3 times and go right back to bed. Keep the lights low. You have to train your body. It is about getting into bed early and building the habit, the rhythm of rest. If you want a clean mind in your 90s, you have to start washing it in your 50s. And finally, rule number 5, the most powerful, most joyous rule of all. You must relentlessly hunt down laughter and refuse to be lonely. We have an epidemic in this country, and it is not just a virus. It is isolation. Chronic loneliness creates a constant state of low-level stress in your body. It pumps your system full of cortisol, a stress hormone that literally shrinks the memory centers of your brain over time. Socializing is the most complex cognitive task a human being can do. When you are having a conversation with someone, you have to listen to their words, interpret their tone, read the micro-expressions on their face, access your own memory, and formulate a response, all in a fraction of a second. It is an absolute symphony of brain activity. But as we get older, our circles shrink, the kids move out, friends pass away, we retreat into our comfortable, quiet houses. You cannot let that happen. You have to treat socializing like it is a medical requirement. I make it my mission to be delightfully annoying to the people around me. I host a card game every Friday night. I make friends with the young people who work at the grocery store. And above all, I find things to laugh at. Laughter is a massive release of endorphins and dopamine. It is fertilizer for your brain cells. I am a firm believer that if you are not laughing loudly at least once a day, you are doing something terribly wrong. A good sense of humor is just intelligence having fun. Keep your wit sharp, and your memory will follow. So there you have it. You do not need a miracle pill. You do not need to spend thousands of dollars on gimmicks. You just need to take control. Eat good fats. Move in challenging ways. Force yourself to learn hard things. Sleep deeply and laugh until your sides ache with people you love. Your life after 60, your life after 80, and even your life after 90 is waiting for you. It can be brilliant. It can be sharp. It can be full of joy. But you have to start building that brain today. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to the channel. Give it a thumbs up and share it with someone you love who needs to hear this. Leave a comment below and tell me which of these 5 rules you are going to start practicing today. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. And remember, keep your mind sharp, keep your heart open, and I will see you in the next video.